baseball history to hit that mark. Top of the fourth, Jose Castillo at bat, runner on third with 2 down, and Maddox gets him. 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, no earned, in position to win until this. The Giants down 1-0. Trevor Hoffman in for the save facing Benji Molina, and Molina takes him up and out to tie the game. 23rd time Maddox was slated for the win in the 9th, and the bullpen blew the win. 65th blown save of Trevor Hoffman's career, just the second this season. It only seems like 4 or 5. In the 13th, Fred Lewis, the hit to center, the RBI off Glendon Rush. Rush would get the loss in this game, just like he did in the 22-inning affair, you might recall. It was a 3-2 game, bottom 13. Tadahito Iguchi at bat with the base loaded and 2 down, and Brian Wilson gets him the ground out. Padres have played 2 extra inning games in the last week that have totaled 35 innings. In those 2 games, they have 1 extra base hit. That's how you lose 2 games.
The Diamondbacks already 10 games over 500 with a week left in April as they stopped in L.A. Dan Herron has been dominant. It allowed just 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts combined, but the Dodgers got to him in the first. Nomar Garciaparra singles to left center. Rafael Furcal scores. Dodger Blue up 1-0. 2 batters later, it's James Loney going to yank that into right. Garciaparra scores. Dodgers up 2-0, and Herron had already allowed 2 runs before he got out of the first. Still in there in the 5th. It's a 3-1 game. Matt Kemp singles to left center field. Chris Young can't handle it. Andre Ethier will come around to score. Dodgers up 4-1. Herron pulled after 4 2/3 inning and allowing 5 runs. His ERA went from 1.80 to 2.72. D-backs down 6-3, 2 out, bases loaded. Takashi Saito takes care of Miguel Montero. 1 run in 4 of their last 5, but the Dodgers put up 8 in this one.
Johan Santana looking to stop a 3-game Mets losing streak. That's what aces and stoppers do. They took on Tim Redding and the Nationals. Top of the 5th, 2-1 Nats. Jose Reyes appears to ground into a tailor-made double play ball, right? Never assume the double play, especially when Lopez is throwing and Reyes is running. Just too fast. Inning stays alive. Reyes would steal second. Luis Castillo, the next batter, slow chopper. He beats the throw from Christian Guzman. Brian Schneider scores, tied at 2. Man on for Ryan Church. Grounds weakly to third. Ryan Zimmerman throws it away. Carlos Beltran goes all the way from first. So another run scores without the baseball leaving the infield. What is going on? Bottom of the 7th, 5-2 Mets. Santana gets Lopez to ground into the double play. Johan Santana, 7 strong innings. He's 50-23 on the road in his career. 4th pitcher since 1960 to hit 50 road wins in that first base. Guillen, 96 career starts at third base. Prior to the season, Cabrera had never played first, not even in the minors. But Guillen was playing first on Wednesday. Cabrera at DH for Gary Sheffield. Kenny Rogers threw it to first. Guillen drops the ball. Ian Kinsler scores. Guillen got the error. Looks very much like a third baseman to me. Guillen would redeem himself with runners on second and third in the bottom of the 2nd. That's a 2-run single. Guillen went 3 for 4, had 5 RBIs in the game. Let's go to the 6th. First and second. Tigers up 9-6. Here's Cabrera going the other way, looking very much at home as a designated hitter. His 5th home run of the season. Curtis Granderson making his season debut. 2-run double, put the Tigers up 15-6. Next batter, you remember Pudge, lines it down the right field line. Tigers up 16-6. 2 batters later, Maglio Ordonez. Tigers up 18-6. They score 11 in the 6th inning. The Tigers rolled 19-6 in all. The 19 runs. You see we helped them out with the extra 1 there?
Yeah, that's good.
The 19 runs are the most in Major League Baseball this season by any team. Tigers are the first team to trail by 5, then win by at least 13 since the Mariners beat the Tigers 22-6 in 1999. Ramon Santiago, the only Tiger starter without a hit, but get this, became only the 3rd player in the last 50 years to have no hits, score 3 runs, and knock in 2 more. And the last time Detroit scored 11 runs in an inning exactly 4 years ago, April 23rd, 2004, against the Tribe.
Look at those 1,000 runs yet. 2nd straight night, the Red Sox had to scratch their starter. Tuesday it was Josh Beckett. Wednesday, Daisuke Matsuzaka out with flu-like symptoms. So it's John Lester on 3 days rest, and he'd barely gotten himself warmed up when Gary Matthews Jr. takes him out onto Lansdowne Street. 3rd of the season, but wait. There's more. 5th inning, it's Matthews up again. Monster shot part 2. This one, as it turned out, was Matthews' 100th career home run. Angels up 4-2. Bottom 5, same score, David Ortiz. A little something for his people. Third homer of the season, 14 RBIs his last 6 games now. Top 6, Manny Del Carmen sick with the flu. Everybody in the Red Sox sick with the flu, so it's Craig Hansen on. Casey Kochman takes him out. 6th of the season. He had 11 all last year. Angels and Boston 6-game win streak.
Alex Rodriguez probably won't play again until the weekend in Cleveland, strained quads, but the Yanks are still dealing with the White Sox and Mike Mussina. In an important start for him, he gets Nick Swisher on the change, 1 of 3 strikeouts for the Moose. White Sox were down 6-1. Carlos Quentin off Mussina. Solo shot. Now watch this. It's 6-2. After the home run, there's a meeting of the minds on the mound. Joe Girardi signals for the bullpen, wants the righty, right? But Jorge Posada quickly talks him out of it. Gotta love your catcher. And Girardi leaves Mussina in. Next batter, Mussina gets Joe Creedy to line out to right to end the inning. 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, and afterwards, everybody can laugh about it. That's a whole lot of catchers right there. And Mussina. Bottom of the 8th, Mariano Rivera called off the rare 5-out save after a sock fly. Jermaine Dye pops out. The Yankees win it 6-4.
Big league club ever to win its 10,000th game in Colorado. Troy Tulowitzki in the 7th hole off John Lieber. It's a 3-run shot. His first home run of the season. He had 24 as a rookie last year. Top 9, Cubs down 5-4, 1 out, 1 on. Aramis Ramirez deep into the Colorado night and gone off Manny Corpus. Cubs up 6-5. Cub rally. Same score, 2 outs, 1 on in the 9th. Ryan Spielborgs into center field. Scott Pasednik scores. Game tied at 6th. How many of the 9,000 some odd losses have gone this way for Chicago? In the 10th, 6 all. Kip Wells pitching. Ryan Theriot. Base knock to right. Mike Fontenot comes in. Cubs win 7-6. 10K. Lou Piniella gets his 100th win as Cubs manager, and so the Cubs are now 10,000 up, 9,465 down. They're just the 2nd big league club to reach 10,000. The Giants are 192 wins ahead. Cubs win, as I mentioned, the first 132 years ago Friday. And of course, it has been 7,670 wins since the Northsiders last won a World Series.
Well, how perfect is this? Only one team has 10,000 losses. Cole Hamels and the Phillies. They're all the Phillies' losses. Hamels hasn't lost that many of them. Facing Prince Fielder in the bottom of the 1st, while Hamels leaves a fastball out over the plate, and Fielder knows what to do it. 2nd home of the year, 3-0 Brew Crew. Chase Utley, high fly to center off Dave Bush. Gabe Kapler will give it a look, but no. Utley leads the league with 10 home runs this season. Got 7 in his last 7 games, so he's out of his slump. Hamels gets Ryan Braun, 6th strikeout of the night. 7th strikeout of the night is Fielder. Top of the 6th, 3-3. Pat Burrell's leading off, and Burrell's going to get into the long ball act, up and out. His 8th jack of the season gave Philadelphia a 4-3 lead, but not so fast, my friend. Bottom of the 8th, 1 on. Hamels facing Fielder again and again. Another high fastball that Fielder turns around. 9th career multi-home run game. Brewers come from behind.
Did someone say home runs? Astros and Reds, Ken Griffey Jr. at 596 and counting, because in the 1st, it's a junior moment. You're so not catching that off. Chris Sampson deep into right field. That's 597, and Steve, you know what that means?
No.
He's just 2 shy of 599.
Oh, yeah.
Reds up 1-0. Top 4th. 2 outs. Bear that in mind. Houston up 4-1. Runners at the corners for Miguel Tejada. Single to left center field brings in Kaz Matsui. Big 2-out base hit. Dick Cole wants to talk it over with Bronson Arroyo. It didn't get any better. Lance Berkman with a shot to right brings in Darren Erstad. The Astros score 7 in the 4th on 6 2-out hits.
6 of the Cardinals' first 7 batters reached base against Pirates pitcher Ian Snell, so it didn't figure to be a good night for Pittsburgh. Todd Wellmeyer and the Cardinals facing Jason Bay in the first pitch of the at-bat in the bottom of the 5th. That's Bay's 4th of the season, so we're tied at 4. Ryan Ludwig at the plate in the top of the 7th. Line to the right, Xavier Nady. That's where he hangs out. Full extension for him. And we go to the bottom of the 8th now. Still tied at 4. Go ahead run on 2nd. Jose Bautista hits a double. That's going to score Ryan Domit. The Pirates hold the Cards scoreless. They have to give it up 4 in the first. Mariners staff in victories at this point. 3-0, 2.79 ERA, making that 4-year, $48 million deal look relatively reasonable. Nick Markakis owned him, though, a .538 batting average against him. Well, Silva got him twice, dropped the average down to .467. In the 8th, Ryan Roland Smith brought in to face Markakis, and Markakis drills it. His 4th of the season. Mariners in a 3-2 lead. Bottom of the 9th, the former Mariner George Sherrill in to shut the door. Gets Richie Sexton to pop up and out. Orioles win 3-2. Sherrill picks up his 7th save of the young season. Look at the O's, 12-9. Rays trying to improve to 5-0 when they play home games 90 miles away from home. That's at Disney World. But they were dealing with Roy Halladay and the rest of the Jays. Bottom of the 6th, Rays were down 3-1. Evan Longoria off Halladay. Jason Bartlett and Carl Crawford come around to score. Halladay, by the way, pitched his 3rd straight complete game. Love the American League. Rays were tied at 3. Next batter's Eric Hinchke. Base hit to right. B.J. Upton comes in to score. Rays beat Halladay. Remain undefeated at Disney World. Matt Stairs, not pictured. 2 homers. Not very nice. Top plays, number 10. Here we go. Wednesday night fights. Joe Green and Joshua O'Keene. Green, the strong right hook for the knockdown. Fight would be called, wins TKO. Green improves to 19-0, 14 by knockout.
Number 9, Cardinals Pirates. And when you think defense in left field, you think Chris Duncan. Look at him go back, ranging on the Freddie Sanchez liner. Nice play. More from the Cardinals Pirates coming up. That's a Cards Pirates teaser.
I'm not sure there's going to be more coming up from the Hawks-Celtics game 2 here at number 8. This might be the one Atlanta highlight. Josh Smith in the lane, one-handed jam. The Hawks lost 96-77. Ouch.
Number 7, World Under-18 Hockey Championship, Canada, Russia. Braden Shen steals it, dinks around the goaltenders, backhanded behind the goal line. More from this game coming up as well. It's a hockey appetizer.
Sweet. Number 6, Nuggets and Lakers. Game 2 of their series. I mean, that is just, you know, there are alley-oops and there are alley-oops. What a great touch pass, and then Kobe just one-touched it in to slam it himself.
Which was those? Juan Urango and Carlos Wilfredo Vilches.
Oh, big right hook. 4, 5.
That's it.
Why even count?
Counting probably unnecessary. Urango, the knockout win.
Number 4, Phillies and Brewers. Ricky Weeks. A flare and a shallow right. Jeff Jenkins coming on. Feels good on the real grass in Milwaukee. Phil's lost the game at 5-4.
I believe I promised more Cardinals Pirates. If I'm not mistaken. Check the tape. Go back and look at that. This is Ryan Ludwig with the liner to right. Xavier Nady. That's why you're 3 instead of 9. He outdid the Chris Duncan catch earlier in the top 10.
Number 2, back to the Under-18 Hockey Championship. Canada's Jordan Eberle. That's what we call a toe drag and then scores. That's a zip, see you later. Canada beats Russia 8-0 to win the goal.
Angels Red Sox. Jed Lowry rounds it up the middle. Eric Ibar. That's a full body drag there as he ranged to his left. Great grab, off balance throw, got his man. More importantly, the Angels get a win in Boston. First place fish in Atlanta, where John Smoltz and his 3,000 strikeouts couldn't help the Braves even a little bit. Top first, Hanley Ramirez leading off and teeing off. That's a bomb to center, his 7th of the year. Marlins up 1-0 in a hurry. Bottom 7th, Braves down 3-2. Matt Diaz up. Got just enough. Matt Lindstrom fields with the bare hand, fires to first. Got him. Braves just 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position in the 8th. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Josh Willingham grounds it to short. Yunel Escobar fires home. It's wild, it's late, probably didn't matter. Braves shut out Tuesday night, left 13 men on base in this one. Marlins win 7-2.